Oh, yeah. Is this on? You can hear me? Yeah? Okay. Thumbs up? Sweet. Awesome. Cool. Thank you. What's up, guys? Happy MomoCon, everyone.
I know, right?
I love Atlanta, let me tell you.
Day 3.
My ex is from Atlanta. I used to come here every other month, and we do all the fun, kitschy stuff, like the aquarium and the Coca-Cola factory and, the CNN Center. That's a fun tourist attraction, right? It's good to be here, guys. Thank you so much.
I love it. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. One more round of applause for being here, for getting here. Yes, hello, hello. I am Aya. I am your moderator for the day, and we all know who this lovely man is, but nonetheless, you ready?
Hi, guys. Yeah, I'm Jonah Scott. I am a voice actor for video games and anime. You may know me as Legoshi from Beastars. I voice Aiden Caldwell in the recent Dying Light 2, the sequel to Dying Light, and many more. But I'm here to answer your questions about video games and anime and Twitch stream. I'm also a Twitch streamer. But yeah, so lay them on me. I'm open whenever.
Awesome. All right, we're here for all of that. But first question, you've sort of answered it, but
Right.
How have you been enjoying MomoCon?
I love it. I used to come here as an attendee way back in the day. I would have panels myself. Me and my buddy Ruben Lack, who currently now, it's crazy, I've known him about 10 years. He works at the manager of Netflix Originals at a studio that I work at. So him and I used to do panels here all the time about, making projects online and, doing what we do now, but in like a hobbyist form. So it's great to be back, honestly. I love this convention center. I love this crowd. I love you guys. Every single person in my line has been a treat. So thank you.
Let's give him a big Atlanta welcome.
Love you guys. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to ask a lot of questions. They will vary from voice acting to also just like all of the fun things that we have all learned about you just over the years. First off, I would like to say thank you. Because you are an amazing person.
Thank you.
In the way you have connected with fans in the time of the before times of COVID and the times of COVID. And I have to say, learning from you, you connect differently from fans than other voice actors.
How do you mean?
Like, you have found, there are so many Q&As that you have. And you've connected with you've connected with fans in such a strong way that other voice actors don't connect. And one of my first questions is, how do you juggle that? Because not only connecting with fans as a voice actor, but also connecting as a streamer and all of that in between. So.
Well, voice acting before it was my 40-hour-a-week full-time job was a hobby. So that's something that I have been doing and off and on getting paid for upwards of 10 years. So voice acting itself has been a part of my life for quite some time, and it became kind of background noise for a while. And it's just like, okay, I'm working as a voice actor. I'm living my dream. That's great, but I have a bunch of downtime and free time, and I had only really ever used that downtime and free time to engage in fandom, and that's one of the reasons I became a voice actor entirely, was to come to conventions and answer questions from people that normally it feels like voice acting feels like this weird nebulous specter that you're trying to figure out and you're trying to deduce and you're trying to penetrate and get in there and understand what's going on. And I kind of feel like this weird Robin Hood of I'm gonna demystify it all, and I'm not gonna make it scary, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, and sometimes it's a hard truth to hear, sometimes it's a life hack or something that you didn't know was easy enough to do. I like doing that. I like pulling back the curtain and saying, look at the man behind the curtain and laugh at him. I really enjoy doing that for people, and my Twitch streams are a way for that to happen. I can play video games, right? I'll be in the middle of an Apex game or whatever, and somebody comes in and says, how do I do this? And, if I die, which happens a lot, I'll spend the, 5-minute kill cam, talking to you guys about voice acting. I'm a huge proponent of doing that and being as open as possible with the time that I have. I would like to sit down for people for an hour, 2 hours, talk about voice acting. But, the guy behind you, I want to talk about voice acting with him, too. But, yeah, I really enjoy engaging in fandom. I really enjoy engaging with fans. And I don't I don't think of myself as, I hate when people call me a celebrity because I don't really think of myself as a celebrity or anything like that. I'm a very niche celebrity, I guess you could say that, but I'm a fan just like you guys. I feel like I got my foot in the door and I'm looking in and I'm like secrets and I'm telling the secrets out the door and okay, yeah, you do this, we do this too, and it's pretty crazy. So yeah, I like being accessible. I enjoy that. I hate this pedestal stuff where people are just like, oh, you're a celebrity. We can't talk. No, you can't. You can talk to me whenever you want. It's fine. Flag me down when I'm getting breakfast, whatever. People, I was checking in and people were taking selfies with me. It was cool. I loved it. But yeah, so I just like engaging with fandom. I like being a fan. I like fans.
So sweet. It's making my heart sore. All right. I gotta keep my heart soaring. Okay, so you. Voice acting wise, you were in theater, like you went to college for it.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so do you ever see yourself going back to theater? Like,
if the occasion arises, everybody, I've been asked several times, like, would you do film? Would you do like a movie or something like that? That I've realized is 3 to 4 times more work than being a voice actor. Which means if I was to pursue film full time, if I was to go and pursue commercials or something like that, instead of recording an audition at home in an hour, I would drive an hour to Santa Monica. I would wait 90 minutes in a room with 50 people that look exactly like me, and then I would go in there and then read and then never hear anything back after 5 hours of my time just gone. No, not gone, it's an audition, learning experience, but I could be booking roles with voiceover in that time. I could be streaming in that time. So my philosophy is if somebody comes to me with a role and says, I want you in my movie and I will pay you and it's a SAG project and I want you in my movie, hell yes, I would love to do that. But I wouldn't go out and pursue it myself. I think the same goes for theater. One of the reasons, in fact, I decided to become a voice actor was because I found, and now that some people thrive in this environment, but because I found theatrical auditions professionally and theatrical productions professionally to be much less friendly than doing it in college and high school. And honestly, my teachers were trying to instill this weird fear in people, and my professors were trying to instill this weird fear where it's like, if you don't believe 100% of your soul and body and cosmic essence is an actor on this stage, you will not do anything with your life. And it's like, look, I don't want to, no, I don't subscribe to that. So a lot of my decision to be a voice actor was like, this is a community of people who want to see you thrive. This is a community of people who, very small, honestly. I probably have access to any voice actor you can think of within 2 days. If you gave me 2 days, I could probably get a hold of any voice actor you wanted me to, because the community is so small and we know each other. No, I won't give you Matthew Mercer's phone number. I got it. I won't give it to you. But yeah, it's a very small community. It was full of people that I already knew. In theater, I would have had to make hundreds and hundreds of contacts in local theater. I did local theater for a while. I did Louisville Rep. I did Shakespeare Society. I did a bunch of on-stage professional stuff that I would get paid for seasons. And it was a lot of work. And at the same time, I'm a huge gamer. I'm a streamer. I used to play League of Legends semi-professionally. I used to be in AD carry main. I used to off top. I used to jungle. I used to do that and get paid to do it. But I realized that takes time to scrim with your team. It takes time to go home and practice. It takes time. We had we took it seriously. We had flashcards with abilities, and it's like, this is a counter. This is a counter. This is what we got to do. This is the counter to the hero. This is the counter to the lane. This is the counter to the positioning in the play. So it was a lot of work. It was like being in a lot of respects, not physically, but it was like being a football player. You had to sit there and practice with your team. That took a lot of time, and that took time away from rehearsal. And then I was doing voiceover, and it's like, I really like doing voiceover because I can do it from home. I can immediately sit down and scrim with my team. I don't have to drive an hour. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to strike a set. I don't have to go and, construct a set. Because when you're doing theater, you do everything at least once. You're going to be the dramaturg once. You're going to make, sets once. You're going to be an actor once. You're going to be the stage manager once. And all that stuff is great if you really 100% wholeheartedly subscribe to that community. And I did for a while. But voiceover was just much more accommodating. I was getting better and more financially lucrative work so I could pay my rent. I was making more than I was working at the deli. Guys, I've worked at a deli, I've worked at Staples, I've worked at 3 malls in the same year. Like I've done my retail work, and I don't want to go back to that. So I absolutely love voiceover, and the main reason I moved from theater and like professional gaming to voiceover was because I could just devote a lot more time to it, and you never perfect your art, but get as close as I could. And it gave me more time to engage with you guys through streams and being here, right? If I was scrimming with my team, I wouldn't be able to be at MomoCon. But hopefully that answered your question. That was pretty long-winded. I apologize.
No, it's fine. But also, could you guys imagine Legoshi working at a Staples?
Yes.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah,
Easily.
it'd be great.
Hi, my name is Legoshi. I'm an Easy Tech sales associate. Would you like to apply for our product replacement plan? There you go. I'll be here all night.
I'd only go to that Staples and nowhere else.
Please,
like,
ma'am.
no matter how
you're
far
here
it is.
every day, ma'am. I'm here for 7 hours, and you're here for 5 of those hours.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'm gonna respectfully out
Sure.
you on one of your theater gigs that I found that you had. You were Horton in Horton Hears a Who.
I was Horton in a Louisville production of Horton Hears a Who.
Yeah. So if Legoshi was replaced with Horton,
Yeah.
how is that? How would he save the Who's on the speck or on the flower? Like,
I feel like they have similar energy. Horton and Legoshi have similar energy. Horton's got a little more extroverted, just a bit, but they have. I'm a big guy with a soft heart who's going to protect the little guy. That's their big, aura that they have about them. So I feel like they'd respond in a similar fashion. They'd be very compassionate. They'd be. I mean, Horton even has his own little love interest. I forget her name, but Gertrude. Yeah, it's a similar dynamic, I think. But yeah, I feel like his reaction would be as similar, if not exactly the same as Horton's. Also, being Horton on stage meant I had to wear what was essentially a fursuit.
He was already meant for this.
It was a fursuit light. It was like I had this big, and most of you guys have been on stage at some point. Being on stage, those lights are hot, and I had Ben Nye all over my face, all over my neck and back and my hands, and that stuff doesn't come off when you sweat. It's there. But it was this big gray sweatsuit without any of the athletic advantages of a sweatsuit. So it was just like this hot radiator that I was living in. I lost 10 pounds during Tech Week and Performance Week of Horton Hears a Who. That was grueling. We also had another pirate show. Pirate outfits are really hot. But yeah, the pirate show I lost a lot of weight on. Hopefully that answered your question.
No, it did.
A little long-winded, but
no, I love these. That's why we're here. We're here for you. We're here to hear
Thank
you
you.
talk.
I'm flattered.
So when it came to spoilers if you guys haven't seen season 2. Hopefully no spoilers.
Uh-oh.
But you should have seen it by now. Hopefully.
You should have. It's been up for almost over a year.
Yeah. For Legoshi, the way you approached him in season 1 compared to season 2, how did that differ, if it differed at all? Because the story advances.
It did, very much so. I'm a huge fan of Beastars. I read the manga, I saw the show before it was in the States. It was one of the shows where I'm just like, man, if this ever gets dubbed, it's going to be awesome. This is going to be great. I would love to participate. And then I got the audition. I had no idea it was going to go to the studio. I got the audition, and I kind of just went with a little deeper version of my normal voice, slightly. And they loved it. Netflix even loved it, and it went all the way up to. It wasn't Padu that gave the thumbs up, but it was like one of their associates or one of their assistants that had to give the thumbs up on that, and that was really flattering, because my buddy was the one who got all the auditions together. I wasn't given any special treatment, but my buddy was the one who got all the auditions together, and then he sent it off. He's like, "You sounded great. I don't get to pick anything. I sent off 50 auditions, and hopefully, fingers crossed for you." And we got the message back that was like, "I can't picture anyone else than this guy is Legoshi. I don't know who he is, but I can't picture anybody else." And I'm like, thank you. That means a lot. But for season 1, it was nerve-wracking because I had never played a lead in anything before. That was my first lead period. I played leads on stage, obviously, and in musicals and things like that. I was a leading man, but I'd never done this anime lead thing before. I'd done several other minor roles in anime before. But I was very nervous, and because I was so excited about Beastars, and because I knew what Beastars was, and I knew the fandom around it, and I knew the themes that it addressed, it had to be perfect. It isn't perfect, but I really, really tried my hardest and put a lot of what I like to call my acting juice into season 1 of Beastars. And then, after it came out, I sat on my hands and waited for the reviews to roll in. I read every single one of them. I read everybody's opinion. I cared way too much, but I wanted to make sure that I did the next part right. The first part, everybody, the reception was very good. Everybody loved it, which was great and flattering and a huge relief to me. And then season 2 rolls around, and I'm like, okay, how do we make this better? How is it possible to make this better? We did a really good job in season 1, but I have, as an actor even, I had my own issues with it. I watched through season 1 and I'm like, that could change. That could be better. We can fix that next time, I swear. So season 2 rolls around and I'm like, okay, one of my qualms with season 1 was writing. We need to figure out how to get the writing. We need to make it sound like a human is speaking. We need to make it sound like somebody that knows how to speak to another person is speaking. We need to make sure that somebody who doesn't know how to speak to a woman is speaking. Like we really have to channel that. And I could think of nobody else than Maddie Morris. Maddie Morris is an incredible writer, one of the best that I know of anime, and even in general. And if you go back and watch season 1 and compare it to season 2 is like Shakespeare compared to season 1, in writing at least. It is flowery, it is chewy. You can really hear all the emotions. I was given a lot of text, and when I'm given a lot of text to actually like chew on in the what are called MNS scenes, mouth not seen, which is a lot of mental stuff, which is like if your character's back is to the camera and they can't see your mouth, you get freedom to act because you're not limited by the flaps. So a lot of Legoshi stuff is mental and mouth not seen. So I was given a lot of opportunity to give space and breathe through lines and stutter, which is a human thing to do, right? So you pepper all those tiny little human mannerisms in, and suddenly it just elevates it just enough for you to be like, oh, I'm not watching a dub anymore. You know, this feels like somebody who's actually talking, and that's what I like to bring to all the shows that I have is this human element, this, for lack of a better term, dubbiness. I like to take away. So that's why I like working on those serious shows. But between season 1 and season 2, I really like to think that we turned it up to 11, and everybody knows how big a deal the show is now, so I can't wait to see what season 3 brings. I'm very, very excited, which is actually, that's been soft confirmed, so I'm excited. Season 3, soft confirmed.
Cheer for season 3. Yay. All right,
good question.
So, thank you. All right, so we've got, oh my God, we have so many amazing people you have been.
Thank you.
So we're gonna play with Super Crooks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna.
One of my favorite
Johnny.
shows I've ever done. If you haven't seen Super Crooks, please watch Super Crooks. It's so good. Anyway, continue with the question. Sorry.
No, it will feed all of your amazing needs.
It's like my hero. It's like Invincible, but anime. It's that good, and meets Ocean's 11. So.
That too. Speaking of Ocean's 11, so Johnny seems to be a character that like feels very Lupin to me.
Yeah. Even drawn a little bit Lupin.
Yeah, that was my question. Did you take any Lupin from when you were like?
Yeah. I share a lot of roles with Tsuda-san, Kenjiro Tsuda, who is a fantastic voice actor, fantastic film actor. He voices Tatsu the house husband. I voice Tatsu the house husband. He voices Johnny Bolt. I voice Johnny Bolt and several others. But he brings a lot of Lupin energy. And in the way things are animated in that show, it's a lot of Lupin energy where it's like, oh, this guy who's kind of a little bit of a womanizer. He's a thief. He's a legit con artist. So he has that kind of steezy 70s flair to him. And that's something I really, really enjoyed. I didn't have any, conversations with any Lupin voice actor or anything like that. But as soon as I saw that character, I'm like, he looks like Lupin. Like, it was exactly like Lupin. But he's a little hotter than Lupin, in my opinion. Johnny Bolt's sexy.
If you had to pull a heist,
yeah,
who would be on your crew, and what would you steal?
Would they have to be superheroes?
You can pick. It's up to you.
Okay, who would be on my? Okay, if you get 4, I got 4 people. It would probably be Johnny Bolt. No, you know what? It'd be Johnny Bolt. It'd be Legoshi. It would be Joe. And it would be, let's see, Tatsu, of course, right? You gotta have a John Wick, right? Okay, all right. So that's my team.
What you stealing?
Yeah, I'm rolling in with that, kicking the door down, and we're gonna steal that Hope Diamond, for sure.
I feel like Legoshi would be lookout.
He's the spy. He's the infiltrator. He's the smooth man, right? Yeah, you know. No, he's the wild card. Yeah, he said that. That's fantastic. Or he's like just the brawn. He's huge. He's yoked, right? Get him in there with the claws and stuff. That's it. That's my heist.
All right, Joe. If Joe was in Beastars, what animal would he be?
Oh man.
Yeah.
I want to say like, have you guys ever seen a hairless ape? Hairless chimpanzee? They're terrifying. They're ripped. They'll tear your face off. I think Joe would be a hairless ape, or a tiger, or something like that. Maybe a lion.
I see tiger.
Yeah, I see tiger.
I see tiger energy.
I'm maybe I don't know. Let's see. What animal skateboards well? A human. I don't. Yeah, hairless ape, for sure.
Hairless
Cherry
ape.
had anything to say
Hairless
about it.
ape wins. So okay, you've played a lot of games.
Yes.
I saw you play Outlast, which is my favorite game.
Oh yeah,
personally.
yeah. That was a while ago.
And Chris is daddy, which. I
Oh
love.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
For you, my friend.
Yeah. Okay.
But have you met Eddie Gluskin?
Any what?
Eddie Gluskin.
No, I haven't.
Does anybody know who Eddie Gluskin is?
Does anybody know who Andy Gluskin is?
Come on, friends.
I don't.
He's from Outlast too.
Okay. The names kind of blur together after I'm like crapping my pants. You know?
I feel when you.
I'm just like, I need to move now. Get out of my way now. Move.
If you get to it, you're gonna crap your pants seriously. There.
I'm sure.
I'm certain.
I play
you
them on
will.
stream. If you guys, I do during Halloween, like October. I do exclusively spooky games. And if you know anything about me, I hate scary games. I am not a fan. I anything with jump scares in it, because it's fun when you're watching stuff on Twitch. You feel like you're in a room with a bunch of people, right? When you're the one streaming on Twitch, you're not. You're in a room by yourself, and it's dark and it's scary, and you can't hear other people talking or anything like that. It's just them feeding off of your reaction. So I jump a lot.
As we talk about games, being a streamer and then also a voice actor,
Right.
how has your voice acting career affected your streaming career? Good, bad?
Oh boy.
Both?
Okay. So if you watch my streams, we are currently working on something called Operation Big Brother Mackenzie. And Operation Big Brother Mackenzie is top secret, but it has something to do with my voice acting. It has something to do with my streaming, and I'm excited to reveal it. But when it comes to my voice acting being implemented into my streams, we do request streams sometimes. If we achieve a sub goal or something like that, we get a milestone in the stream, whatever. I will put my GoPro in the corner of my closet, which I've lined in sleeping bags, because that's how I record everything. I don't have a booth. I have a closet with sleeping bags and clothes in it. I recorded Attack on Titan in my closet with sleeping bags and clothes in it. So if that works. But yeah, we put that in there. We get the camera going, a big, nice wide angle. You can see a whole lot. And then you can see me recording, whatever. And subscribers get preference, but I will read through chat. And whatever tickles my fancy, I'll just record it. I'll do full voice, I'll turn the gain down, I'll make it nice and cool, I'll do recording messages, I'll do voicemails, whatever. But that's we do those maybe twice a year. The cool thing is, though, I can turn my camera, I usually stream with the camera on, but I can turn my camera off, and in my humble opinion, the stream it's fun to look at me while I'm playing games, but the stream gets way funnier if I turn my camera off, because you can't tell what I'm going to do. And as a voice actor, you can't tell what I'm going to say or how I'm going to say it. And every now and again, I pull something out of my hat that people are like, what was that you? Was that somebody else in the room? Like, what was that? So having fun and screwing with people. I sound a lot like Roger Craig Smith. We all know it. And I like to screw with people in Apex, because Roger voices Mirage, and I get in the game chat. I do the same with my God, he's gonna kill me. I do the same with Matt in Overwatch. I sound a lot like Matt, and I do a really good McCree impression. And I get in there and do my Cassidy impression, and people are just like, hold on, what? Can you run that one by me again? I don't. You sound like you should be a voice actor. It's like, thanks, man. I shouldn't I? I should get off this computer and I should go do some voice acting. But yeah, it's a neat little Swiss Army knife that I can just pull out and do all kinds of cool stuff for people, and I just think it's fun. I don't think it's me like, you know, engaging in an exercise of arrogance or hedonism or anything like that. I just think it's funny to screw with people.
You've interacted with a lot of your fans online. How have you been handling interacting with them in real life?
Oh, it's so much easier. I like interacting with people online because there's just like that layer of I can put the phone down and go away whenever. But when people are in line, it's fun to engage with them, ask them questions, talk about their cosplay, talk about why they're here. A lot of the time, you know, I've experienced people coming up and saying like, "You're the reason I'm here," and it's like, I mean, I don't want to get sad or anything, but as somebody who struggled with like self-image issues and like depression and anxiety and things like that, having somebody come up to you and say, "You're one of the reasons I'm here, you're one of the reasons I'm doing voiceover, or one of the reasons I'm pursuing art," or something like that, or "I drew this picture of you," it blows my mind every time that people wait an hour in line to see little old me. You know, some dude from South Central Kentucky thank you, guys. It's just so much fun to interact with you guys, and I'm so glad that you've invited me here into your home to say hi and give you a hug.
Give yourselves a round of applause. All right, so my last question, and then it's all of your beautiful friends' turn. Oh my God, what was my last question? I had it, and now I lost it. Oh, you like to cook.
I love to cook.
Have you cooked any new meals lately?
For anybody who doesn't know, I went to culinary school for a year. I went to the University of Cincinnati Culinary School for the Culinary Arts for a year until I realized that owning a restaurant is not good unless you're very, very, very good at business, and I'm not, which I swiftly realized after becoming an actor. Because half of acting is learning a business. But yeah, I love to cook. I cook at home all the time. I've recently kind of perfected this like chicken la orange thing that I like to make. Once you know the fundamentals and the science and the chemistry behind cooking, it's very, very easy to put together a meal. You get protein, carb, vegetable. Pick one of each, and then learn how to cook it pretty well. And once you have a good grasp on spices and a good pantry, you know, you bring me raw chicken, some asparagus, and a potato, and I can make you a pretty good dinner. So yeah, if I have any suggestions or anything like that, like learn at least a couple of recipes, because living in LA, sleeping on the floor in LA for a year, you become very grateful for those culinary skills and not having to eat. Literally, for almost a week, I ate beans out of a can like a hobo, and it was a time. And then I realized, like, oh, you went to I talked to my mother on the phone, and she was like, "Joni, you went to culinary school for a year. Why are you eating beans?" And I'm like, "Mom, you're right. I did. And I'm going to cook something good." So I went to the dollar store. And with the money that I had, I went to the dollar store and got like leafy greens and made a good meal. But yeah, learn a good recipe or two, and you know, you'd be surprised. You bring a significant other over and you whip up something really good they've never seen before. That's some brownie points right there. But
Legoshi,
yeah, I love cooking. It's so good.
Legoshi as a chef. Now that's in my brain. It's Legoshi as a chef. Love it. All right, so we're gonna start our lovely Q&A for you guys.
Let's do it. Get in line.
You guys line up.
Don't run, please.
Look at you guys go.
Calmly.
Now, as you guys prep for your questions, remember that we want to be respectful for everyone. So try to keep it to at least 2 questions max. I'm going to let you have 2 questions max. Ready?
Hello. I'm a huge fan. The first time I ever heard you was as my favorite character, Randy Orlando from Trails of Cold. I love him so much, and I was just wondering, in that same vein, is there a difference in your approach to video games and like dubbing? I obviously we're dubbing, but just in general, like a show versus a video game, or is it more so the same process? Just how does that work?
Okay, first of all, you'd be very, very surprised how many games aren't made in the United States. There are like the big three, I think, like Call of Duty and then indie games and a bunch of other AAA games that are made in the U.S. Dying Light 2 was made in Poland. Dying Light 2 wasn't made in the United States. Wasn't made in English. We had to do an adaptation. I dubbed it. It was a dub. A lot of AAA, The Witcher, dub. Cyberpunk, dub. It's all dubbed. So you'd be very surprised. Obviously, Randy Orlando, dub. But going in for those games, it's game styles. Dying Light 2 is an action RPG, so you don't see the character's face very often unless it's a cutscene. So I have free reign with my acting. Even though it is a dub, I have free reign with what I never heard the Polish version. I got to do my own version. And I only heard the Polish in the cutscenes for timing. So I got to have a lot of freedom in Dying Light 2. Randy Orlando is the polar opposite, because when you're doing those fight combat berserker, you gotta do it in like 0.5 seconds. It has to be in 0.5 seconds. And they do this thing called echo repeat, where they play, here's the Japanese, okay. So like, persona, like, right, yeah, and you have to say persona in the exact same time. And if you don't, you gotta do it again, and again, and again. And that's why sometimes when you play JRPGs, you're like, why is the English actor speaking so fast? That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't sound natural. In American English, no. But in Japanese, we have to match that timing because the timing is encoded into the game. You can't go in and tweak a knob or anything like that and make that move. And then you get other games where I got to do mocap on a game that's not out yet, but I got to do mocap on a game a couple of weeks ago. You get a script, you got to memorize the script. You go in, you have these massive monitors. They're like 80-inch monitors on either side of the volume that you're in, and those have your lines on them. You can't really look at them. You can get them out of the side of your eye, maybe grab a little bit of the line. You're supposed to memorize your lines going in. You normally don't have to do that for voiceover. So it depends on the game that you're doing. But yeah, again, takeaways, you'd be surprised at how many things are produced internationally that just need to be localized, and it depends on the type of game. Game styles is big. But hopefully that answered your question, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
Hello. Hello. My question is, so I know that you like started out and then like you started doing like little fan projects and like Attack on Space and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's just so interesting seeing you go from that to like voicing things like Legoshi and Joe, and then eventually getting your dream role of being Aiden in Dying Light 2.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I just wanted to know like a little bit more about like your journey from like point A to point B, and then also, if possible, can you give us like a little recreation of like your reaction when you found out you were Aiden? Because I know that was like your big thing.
Yeah. For you guys that don't know, Techland only hired me to do temp voices for Aiden. I was brought on in a very roundabout way. I knew a guy who knew the developers, and he was looking for temporary voice work for a video game. I got the audition, and I'm not ignorant. I looked at all the sides, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the sequel to the game that I just beat. Like, this is the sequel to the game that I just played. I know these characters' names and everything. Again, can't screw this up. It's got to be perfect. So I did it. I became very invested in it. They kept bringing me back for the voices, for the temp voices. So this is timing cutscenes, making sure things work in English way before they get dubbed, anything like that. And then after about like a year of continuously doing this, radio silence. And I asked the guy, I'm like, hey, I really am curious. I would really love to play him in the real thing. Who wouldn't, right? I would really love to play Aiden in the real game. Please, my buddy George Ledoux, who's another voice actor, he was the guy that was heading this up. Please tell them that I care very much. I'm a huge Techland fan. I played Dead Island. I played, Dying Light. I played some of their really old games too, Call of Juarez, things like that. So please, I would love the opportunity. Just get me in front of a producer or something like that. So they did. They're like, okay, we need to make an efforts bank, right? So what an efforts bank is just hundreds of screams, grunts, cries, yells, shouts. I'm on fire. I got shot. I'm falling 10 stories, things like that. And I had the smart idea of again, in the closet, I have a clothes bar, right? I have a clothing bar in the closet, and in order to get authentic, real sounds, I hung from my clothing bar, actually engaging my core and my muscles and like doing pull-ups and stuff while I was recording. And I had, oh my God, I had a webcam and I turned the webcam on and I showed the producer in Poland. I'm like, look at how dedicated I am. I'm doing pull-ups and stuff in the closet. And I'm like, I'm hanging in the closet like Aiden would in real life, And the producer, he was nonplussed. He's just like, okay, that is cool, yes, thank you. It's just good. I'll be sure to tell the narrative designer. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I screwed up. That's it. And that's all I heard for a year. So I thought that I massively screwed up. And I cut losses. I'm like, okay, I knew it was too good to be true. Sometimes you just gotta say, this isn't gonna happen. A lot of auditions I send out, I'm just like, this would be really cool if I got it, but it's not gonna happen. It's gonna go to somebody else, it's gonna go to celebrity, something like that. Because, they did hire a celebrity for Dying Light 2. Rosario Dawson I'm playing opposite Rosario Dawson the entire game. And they used her likeness and everything. Radio silence for a year, and then as that year goes on, I cut my losses and it's like, okay, time to go whole hog in LA. I'm gonna just do what I need to do in LA. I'm gonna send emails, I am gonna go talk to studios, I am going to go take classes. Sometimes you gotta pay to get auditions at some point. But it worked out. After about a year in LA, another year I slept on the floor. I did absolutely nothing that whole year. I had no work, I had no auditions. I was sleeping on my buddy Jalen Cassell. Jalen Cassell wrote Stardust Crusaders. He wrote a bunch of other anime for Bang Zoom. But I slept on his floor for a year, and he basically taught me how to dub anime. And after that, I was on my own I had another roommate, but he was a game developer, and I was just kind of working very, very lightly. And then I booked B-Stars. And then I'm like, okay, on the drive home, I'm just like, all right, maybe this career can work. Maybe I'm doing something right. Maybe. We'll find out. So we did B-Stars, that came out, and then I showed people B-Stars and like, oh, okay, you might know what you're doing, so we're gonna put you in other things. So Funimation starts putting me in things. Funimation, now Crunchyroll starts putting me in things. And then I started working remotely, and I was in so much anime in the past couple of years. And then I went to my agent and I said, hey, I think we got a bit of buying power here. Go to Techland and say, I may or may not be playing the lead in your game. I don't know what you're doing, but I've been doing this while you've been doing whatever you're doing. And the next day, my agent got back to me and said, you got a session next week for Dying Light 2. You're gonna be recording the full game. You are the character. And I cried. I can't cry right now, but I straight up cried because that game, I don't want to get too sad or anything. My mother passed away several years ago of a heart attack in the middle of me doing all this stuff. So it was right before I booked B-Stars, and she never got to see any of it. She was a huge encouragement to me the entire time I was living on my own. I was sleeping on the floor. I was almost homeless at some point. And she was just telling me to keep going, keep doing it. You've got the talent. Your grandmother would say you always had that voice. Keep going. You've got this tool that you need to use. So I did. And Dying Light 2 is a big deal, way more than just a job, way more than just a game. Because of that, I have a heavy attachment with my mother there, and I was elated. I was like, this is my mother working in some spectral way that says this is your career. Here you go, do it. Stay out there. You can do this. So that was essentially my reaction. It was very wholesome. It was like, all right, time to put my nose to the grindstone. I would get up every day, 7:30, be on the road, drive to Santa Monica, be in the studio for 4 hours, doing the coolest crap. It was so much fun. And DLC hopefully soon. They got delayed, I think, until September, November. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this. I don't know. I don't know any more than you guys. But yeah, I can't thank Techland enough. I can't thank everybody that was involved in that process enough, because I want to say that I was incredibly, incredibly lucky, but I know it was my mom doing something. Thank you for your question.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Hey.
Howdy ho.
First of all, it's really nice to talk to you. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. What's your name?
Audrey.
Audrey. Nice to meet you, Audrey.
Thank you. So you mentioned that you went to culinary school.
I did, yeah.
And you mentioned that you had recipes. I was wondering if you could tell us, or tell me specifically, one of your recipes, because I'm trying to learn to cook, but if you could do that in Lady Legoshi's voice.
Well, I have this wonderful recipe for chocolate chip cookies. You have to use brown butter. If you don't use brown butter, it doesn't taste as good. And a combination of brown sugar and white sugar. You don't just want to use white sugar, because if you just use white sugar, your cookies get all flat and gross. And we don't want that. We want nice, cakey, chewy cookies.
I also have another wonderful cherry sugar cookie that I did. I made for Damon, and the whole house. He lives. Him and Alejandro and a bunch of people live together in I think North Hollywood or something like that. I don't know. I'm not gonna dox them, but they live in LA. And when Skate dropped, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna make a bunch of cookies, and I feel like cookies, and I streamed myself making those cookies. I have a couple of TikToks where I was just like, slapping dough and stuff and doing stupid crap while I'm making cookies on stream. But it's a basic sugar cookie, but you replace like a couple tablespoons of the sugar itself with maraschino cherry juice. Just like it's terrible for you. Don't just drink maraschino cherry juice. It's really bad. But if you put it in the cookie dough and you bake it, it becomes a little less terrible for you. It's a preservative. It keeps the cookies nice and soft as well. It has that nice distinct maraschino cherry flavor. When you think of cherries, you don't really think of like a raw cherry. You think of that maraschino cherry, that candied cherry flavor. And then you cut up a couple of maraschino cherries, put it in there. Maybe some chocolate chips if you're feeling a little bit spicy. But get creative. Recipes are a guide. A lot of the time you cook something once and then you realize, okay, I can tweak these tiny things and make it better every time. I do this really cool thing on stream where I make chicken katsudon or pork katsudon with rice and cabbage. It's a very fresh meal. It's very wholesome. It's very filling. And it's very simple to make. It makes a mess, but it's very simple to make. And it's fun to make on stream because it makes a mess. It's just fun to have fun with you guys. And I like to put my shotgun mic down in the bubbles, and you get to the ASMR, and I hear that frying pork foot. Delicious. But yeah, I got a bunch of recipes. If you want, send me an email. I'll get you some.
Nice. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the question. What's up, Lego?
Hey, it's great to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
I was wondering, do you know about guesstimate about how long you were freelancing before you found an agent that you really suited you?
4 years I was freelancing, 4 or 5 years. I've been acting for almost 20 years at this point, since I was 8 years old. Wow. My parents put me in there as kind of a daycare, but I loved it. I loved performing. So I just kind of took to it like a fish to water. And I was doing freelance voice work for about 4 years, maybe 5. And I was, again, this is another reason why I'm either lucky or there's some divine intervention that's happening. Ben Diskin, Ben Diskin, number one, Ben Diskin. He was he's in Beastars. He's Jack. He plays my best friend in the show, and sweetest guy in the world. He saw me in the studio one day, and I was wearing a Kingdom Hearts shirt. It said Army of Heartless, and it had Sora with the Keyblade and the whole Army of Darkness style, and it was really cool. And I didn't know Ben Diskin was there. This wasn't planned or anything like that, but he looks at me on the couch as I walk in and sign in. He doesn't know me from Adam, no idea who I am. And he looks at my shirt and he says, "I like your shirt." And I'm like, "Thanks, it's Kingdom Hearts." And I knew it was Ben Diskin, but I'm not gonna engage Ben Diskin in conversation because I'm a socially anxious guy. And I sat down next to him, and we had a brief conversation about it. He told me how much he likes it. He gave me a brief summary of I think Kingdom Hearts, Dream Drop Distance or something like that. And then I went in to do my session, and I walked back out. And Ben Diskin was texting Lauren Landa at the time, another person that I didn't know until Beastars. And Ben is like, "I absolutely love Beastars. It's great. Lauren, do you know who's playing Legoshi?" And Lauren's like, "No, I have no idea, but he's got a chore ahead of him, whatever." And then Ben's like, "This guy just walked in and I talked to him, and I feel like he might be playing Legoshi, and if he is, it's perfect." And so after that, Ben and I, we went and we had a little bit of, this was right before the COVID protocols dropped for people staying home and the lockdown drop. We had a party. We had a little tiny get together with as many people as we could get in LA that were in Beastars. It was 10 people. We went into Lauren Landa's apartment and we watched the show, 3 or 4 episodes of it. We streamed it even. And afterwards, Ben's like, hey, are you represented by anybody? And I'm like, no, I don't. I gotta go to meet the agent nights, and I gotta send emails, and I gotta show my worth. And he's like, we could work with you in CESD. I could see what I could do there. And I was like, wait, really? Ben Diskin is gonna walk me into CESD? And there was a process. It wasn't like I was just given a part or given a representation at CESD. I auditioned. I did several sides for them. We did several interviews. And then afterward, they're like, yeah, we could sell you. Sure, come on in. And because Ben Diskin is such a G and such a cool guy, I now have representation, and I have protection, which is what a lot of representation is. And since people heard Beastars and they heard Dying Light 2, they want me in their projects. And I'd love to do that. I love working with independent developers, especially. I did an indie game a couple of weeks ago that was really fun. The developer's a good friend of mine. But sometimes people try and take advantage of you, and the protection that an agent provides is invaluable, because a lot of the time, you as a public figure, I literally cannot be seen as the bad guy. So I have to have my agent come in and be like, hey, you might have to deal with this for me, or you might have to negotiate this for me, because I'm the one that goes in and does the voice. You need to help me sign all the paperwork. And that's what I was talking about earlier, where I started voice acting and acting in general, and I had no idea how the business worked at all. So I was just signing contracts, and it's just like, yeah, sure, yeah, you can give me work? Okay, all right, yeah, I'm totally gonna sign this. And then I realized that would get you into trouble at some point. I had another agent that took advantage of me. He saw that I had some talent, and he signed me to him. And I didn't realize what I was signing, and I went to go work with CESD, and he's like, okay, you're coming with me. I'm leaving. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you signed this contract. You're coming with me. You're working exclusively with me now. And I'm like, no, I'm not. So I had to hire a lawyer. I had to get myself out of that contract. I had to pay a lot of money in order to get out of that contract. So pay attention to what you're signing if you decide to go into theater or anything like that. You will sign contracts like that. Thank God now it's not physical. So when you go into a studio, you're not pressured to sign the contract to get into the work. You can sign the contract after the session, or I would look through it, go through it with whoever your representation is, read through it yourself just to make sure it makes sense in layman's terms. But yeah, I was freelancing for a while before I got the pleasure of being represented by CESD.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yes,
Howdy.
agents, I know.
Yes. Howdy.
Hey.
So speaking of the voice acting community, you said that it was a relatively small community, but I'm sure you've worked with quite a few in any project, whatever. But is there any voice actor that you haven't worked with that you'd like to work with on a project?
Yeah, Matthew Mercer. I'd love to. He is, I've never met the man in my life. I have his phone number, don't ask how. I've never met the man in my life. He probably doesn't know who I am, but I would love to, in some capacity, share a scene with him. I would love to. I got the pleasure of sharing a scene with J. Michael Tatum recently. That was beautiful. I would love to share a scene in some capacity with Roger Craig Smith, because him as Sonic has been a childhood thing for me. My buddy went to MagFest a couple months ago, and got a signed picture of Sonic that was like, to Jonah, you gotta go faster. And I tweeted at him, and I'm like, I could never go faster than you, Roger, never. Thanks, man. And when Dying Light 2 came out, everyone was like, you sound exactly like Roger Craig Smith. It's like, no, I sound like somebody doing a first-person action protagonist, which Roger and Troy and Matt all do, so you can put them all in that basket too. But he came to my defense. He's like, no, this is Jonah. This is not me. This is Jonah. He sounds amazing. I can understand why you would think it was me, because he sounds good. And Roger's that kind of guy who's just like, hey, I'm great. Yeah, it's kind of a joke. But he's so nice. So I'd love to work with any of those people in any capacity at all. Please, Matt, put me on crit roll, please. I'd love to show up, please. Not gonna happen, but I'd love to.
Thank you.
Thank you, dude.
Hi.
Hey.
So, when you first learned that you were being cast as Legoshi.
Right.
Did you know, or were you prepared at all for like this massive amount of furry interaction you were gonna get? And when it was announced you were Legoshi, what was that like?
My community manager, Nathaniel, very good friend of mine, somebody I've known for over a decade. He's somebody that's been kind of a rock in this whole situation. He's a devout furry, and I came to him first. He's one of the first people that I came to, and I'm like, hey, dude, so how big a deal is this? And he's like, what do you mean? Oh. We gotta prepare. So we spent like 2 months slowly infiltrating, the Beastars Discord, the Beastars subreddit. I would go to the furry subreddit, the furry Discords and things like that. Just hanging out. Nobody had any idea who I was, and making friends. And then in the subsequent months, it'd be like, hey, I voiced Legoshi in Beastars. Did you know that when you were interacting with me before? No, you didn't. I love surprising people like that because I'm just a dude. I just seem like a dude walking around a lot of the time. And even on the internet, I just kind of seem like a dude. I interact. I'm a meme lord. I can meme with the best of them. Even Kellen Goff. I can meme with Kellen Goff. We're on par. I swear. But yeah, I love surprising people. Honestly, I'm going to be very, very real here. Furries paid my rent for months, and through Twitch, through donations, through I was broke. But anime doesn't pay that well. I'm gonna be frank. Anime doesn't pay that well. It's like $75 an hour. I know that sounds like a lot, but if you're doing 10 hours of work, that's like $750, and that's your gig for the month, right? That doesn't pay my rent. $750 doesn't pay my rent. My rent's like $1,200, and I have 2 roommates, so it's expensive to live in LA. But the furries really helped me progress my career, make the stream better, make my performances better, because trust me, if you want feedback on how Beastars sounds, go ask a furry. Yes. So if you get the best feedback from them. They are passionate. They are the nicest people I've ever met. I would interact with them on VR. I do VR streams all the time. I have VR chat. I recently got a Valve Index, which I'm very excited about. So the furry community is I will stand in front of them with a sword and shield as long as I'm alive, because they have made it so that I can do what I love without worrying about losing my house, or not my house. I don't have a house. What am I kidding? I'm 28. I don't have a house. I have an apartment with 3 roommates. I lose my apartment. But yeah, they've been. I can't describe how kind.
That's amazing to learn. It's like your rent was paid by paying you to read that copy pasta on stream.
I would read anything they sent me because we do those request streams. Yes. And I would have 1,000 people watching me on Twitch at any given time just to do a flip. Ah, cool! Now you did a flip. But yeah, it's been a ride, and we're not done yet.
I'm glad.
Not even close.
Thank you.
Thank you, dude. Appreciate it.
Hello. So
Howdy.
I haven't really watched Beastars.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but I want to.
Sure.
Because I've heard it was good.
It is.
I've heard it was like Zootopia, but a bit more gritty. And I also know that Legoshi is a lot of people are thirsty for him and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And since you're basically known as the guy who voices Legoshi, how do you feel cope with the fact that most of your biggest character is people thirst with them a lot, since how do you feel
Legoshi is my first Netflix lead. I voiced 3 lead characters on Netflix shows. I voiced Johnny Bolt, I voiced Tatsu, the house husband, and I voiced Legoshi. I voiced several other characters at Funimation and Crunchyroll. So I don't really have to cope with it. I think it's a boon for sure. I absolutely love it, and I love interacting with the cosplayers and the fandom, and even down to the minutia of it. But I feel house husband to some. I saw when I was walking through here, there was a flyer for a gyoza place that had house husband on the cover of the I was on an ad. Like, Legoshi's not on that ad. So Legoshi's not used to advertise things. So I feel like the popularity of Legoshi is definitely, you know, leaning over more toward the furry audience, and for the niche anime viewers, it's a 3D CG anime, which turns people off too. So there's that portion. But house husband's a normie thing. It's something that everybody can enjoy. It's something that I know a lot of mothers have sat down and enjoyed watching House Husband. My girlfriend's mom likes House Husband more than me. So I feel like the popularity is definitely weighted, but I feel like it's significantly spread out. Johnny Bolt. How many of you guys have seen Super Crooks? It's a great show. I think it's underrated. Studio Bones did the animation. It looks beautiful. They did the animation for Skate and a bunch of other things. So I don't cope with it. I absolutely love it. I relish it. I live in it. I roll around in it. It's great.
That's a good way to live your life.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Good question. Thank you so much, dude.
As we come to our next question, we have 5 minutes left.
All right.
5 minutes.
We can get through that.
That's okay.
Lightning round.
Lightning round.
Get a little closer.
Is becoming a voice actor worth it?
I think so. It's a lot. Like I say, it's not easy to do, but it's simple to do. There are a few steps that have been demystified over the past few months to years that I kind of want to bring out to people. If you come to my streams, you can ask me more questions about that. You come to my table, you can wait in line, ask me more questions about that too. You see me walking around buying stuff, flag me down, ask me a question. My time is your time. I'm here. So yeah, it's easy. It's not easy to do, but it's simple to pull off.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Lovely cosplay, by the way.
Oh my God, hi.
Oh my God, hi.
So, do you see yourself in the characters that you voice? See a bit of a part of yourself?
Yeah, I have to. I don't method act, but I do find nuggets of myself in the characters that I voice. Johnny Bolt always wanted to play a superhero. Johnny Bolt always wanted to be a superhero. He's a supervillain, but he started out he wanted to be a superhero, but he screwed up, and now he's a supervillain. Legoshi, depressed, anxious. Raise your hand if those apply to you. It's just something that we all go through at some points, especially when we're 18. Tatsu the house husband. There's a power fantasy there that people like. He's mysterious. He's strong. He's creative. He's tenacious. There's a lot of indulging that goes in there. Whenever I play villains, sometimes I don't like being bad, but sometimes it's a really good way to vent, right? If you just want to there's somebody you really just want to lay into with your words. You gotta, and it's great. It's a really fun exercise. But yeah, you gotta find yourself in all the characters you can.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry. I was wondering if you had any interesting voice acting mishap stories.
Voice acting mishap stories. Let's see. A lot of what's on Crunchyroll I recorded without a shirt on, if that is a cool fantasy. My booth gets hot, so I don't really wear a shirt in my booth just because it gets that hot and I sweat, especially if I'm yelling or screaming or something like that. Mishaps. I feel like there's always some hiccups in production. The production line usually have the hardest job of scheduling people, making sure scripts are right, making sure everything's edited, making sure copy is edited, making sure that the things are legible by the director, making sure the director is casting the right people. It's a lot of hiccups there. So I feel like a lot of the booth mishaps are just a result of a hiccup in production in some way. I went in for a show. I can't talk about it yet, but I went in for a show. And I was recording for one character, and this character is not a character I would voice ever. I came in, and I'm just like, oh, you're putting me on this show? On this character? This guy's 75. I don't sound, I can't even try and sound. Get Jason Marnocha in here or something. Not me. And then I realized that I was just miscast. I was the wrong person. Names got switched on a ledger, and I still got paid because I tried. But a lot of it just kind of is hiccups in production. Rarely, and I don't want this to make it sound like production is always the issue. No, there's some actors out there that are divas, but production is, since there's so many people working on it. there's a lot of areas where it can just, okay, that's, we should probably fix that. But yeah, no real like, I haven't like, I pooped my pants while I was recording. No, nothing like that. There've been some funny moments, but nothing cataclysmic. I'll tell you when there is. It's inevitable at this point. I've only been doing this 2 years.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. I guess that's it.
Yep, that's
all right.
it.
Guys, honestly, thank you, legit, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you for waiting in line for hours to even just talk to me. That it really means the world to me. And I'm flattered and honored that, again, you guys invite me into your home so that I can talk to you and show you guys what I do. I love you, each and every one of you. And if you see me in the hall, come say hi. Come take a selfie. Come hang out. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.